Hey guys, Steve and Tony here, and I am back with a new video. And this is going to be an, in my opinion, from the shelves video. And this go around's topic is going to be on the Belgian filmmaker Harry Kümel and his two films, which have recently come to Blu-ray and 4K, and they are Daughters of Darkness and Malpertuis. Now, we're going to start off with Daughters of Darkness, since it was his first film. And also, this is the only one that's gotten a 4K. So, yeah, I did mention both of these titles in my first collection update of the year video, but I didn't go into too much on the stories in general. So yeah, this will be a little more in depth to the films in themselves, and just some minor rehash of certain background information for anybody who missed the collection update, which I will link below for anyone interested. Now, a little background on Kümel before I start talking about Daughters of Daughters of Darkness, and that is he was born in the Flemish area of Belgium. Always had an interest in films and filmmaking since he was a boy. Got his first film camera. I believe he said in an interview as either a birthday present or a Christmas present, and his journey just started from there. He formed a group with fellow Belgian film enthusiasts. The name escapes me right now, but it was mentioned in a archival documentary on the Mel Pertwee disc. So yeah, and then he started off with a series of short films. And then finally in 1971, he got the opportunity to do Daughters of Darkness, his first feature film. And how it came about was, this is just a brief rehash from the update video. The idea came about. He also had an interest in history, Kümel, and he had just either read or seen a special on Countess Elizabeth Bathory, who was a Hungarian noblewoman who has gone down in history as one of the earliest documented vampires, after she abducted and had all these virgin girls in her village killed for their blood, which she thought kept her eternally youthful looking. And Kümel soon started to think, well, what if she survived into the modern day? What if she was still roaming around Europe and still, taking the blood of women, to survive? And this is how Daughters of Darkness came about. Now, the whole story involves her meeting this recently married couple, Stefan and Valerie. Stefan is purportedly from British nobility, although that comes into question. And Valerie is, I believe, French German. Is a French German, but can also read and understand Flemish Dutch. So they decide to honeymoon there, and soon they find themselves in the Countess's orbit, along with her assistant. Oh gosh, I can never recall the assistant's name. I'm sure it's on the back here. Oh yeah, Iona, played by see. Oh, here we are. Andrea Rao. Yeah. Um, yeah, yeah. Yes. So they come into their orbit, and at first, it's just very, nonchalant. They keep happily bumping into each other, and not just because they're the only guests in the hotel. And it's the hotel where we first kind of learn who Kenneth Bathory might be, because the one employee says he remembered seeing her at the hotel when he was just starting out as a bellboy. And she says, oh, you must be mistaken. It was probably my mother or my grandmother even. But, he's certain. And later on in the film, he says this to both Stefan and Valerie, the same story. Now, Stefan, who is played by Dark Shadows veteran John Carlin. In fact, I think he shot this just as the series finished filming. So yeah, he's hiding his secret from his wife. We're not sure exactly what it is. We know it somehow involves con artistry, because he hasn't been totally faithful in his answers about his background to her, and all sorts of stuff starts coming up that he would rather, stay buried. While they're out and about in this village, touring, they come across a recent murder scene, which Stefan seems to find, let's say, very enticing in a not healthy way. And Valerie soon starts having her doubts about him, and they soon start encountering the Countess more and more at the hotel. She always seems to be where they are, and soon things start taking a very bizarre turn. I really enjoyed this when I watched it earlier this year in January. This was actually my first film of the new year, and I was quite pleasantly surprised. It's definitely an erotic vampire story, but what I like and what makes it so different is that it feels more like gothic fantasy than gothic horror, because the usual tropes are not entirely present. I mean, Ilona in one scene kind of plays up a traditional trope, and that the sight of blood triggers that lust vampires get. But generally, those are underplayed. Delphine Seyrig just exudes this exoticness and allure, and that's really how she seduces both Stefan and Valerie throughout the film. Like, just her presence, her radiance, how she carries herself as a person, is what like draws them to her, and I really like that, and again, it's more fantastical because you never really see either her or Iona really engage in traditional vampire behavior. Although we do soon learn that Iona now feels more like a slave to Countess Bathory than she does a lover. She clearly sees that she's become attached to Stefan and Valerie. Valerie more so, and that could be because of Valerie's shyness, and of course there's this detective on her trail who is kind of getting to her through Stefan and Valerie by following them, and all this other stuff. Yeah, I mean, and how I mean by gothic fantasy as opposed to gothic horror is that it's not really overly like macabre. I mean, there's a few macabre moments, obviously, but generally there's just nowhere. There's just like no eerie atmosphere at all to it. Like, it's more like you're in this fevered dream where like it's not exactly frightening, but it's different. And that's what I really love about how the film is, and how Kümel made it work. And also the color tropes as well. There's a lot of red in this film. Delphine Seyrig wears a lot of red. Oh yeah, oh yes. I mean, and this is some more rehash, but red plays a huge part in Kümel's work, especially here, because as I said, Delphine Seyrig wears red. When we first meet Stefan and Valerie, they're bathed in this red light. Because like red in this instance representing both life and death, rebirth, and everything. I mean, like it is just very well done, and how it's shot is excellent as well. Yeah. And what's equally interesting is that this film was shot in English with Seyrig, Andrea Rao, Danielle, hold on, Danielle Kümel, and the Dutch actors in the film. They all did their lines in English, and it's all their own voices. the disc also includes the French dub with Sarang redubbing herself, which is totally flawless. Uh, it's her both times for sure. Sure, with only very differences in how she delivered her lines in both. Yeah, it's very surreal, but I think it's actually a good starting point maybe for people, who know what vampire stories are and are maybe looking for something different. It just really plays out as this dark love story which I love. I've always found that kind of romance a little more interesting than the traditional stuff. I'm not really sure why, but that's just me. Yeah, but this is a really excellent film, and for a debut full-length feature, Kümel did very well. I liked his style. I liked his use of color. I liked, how he was telling the story. I like his metaphors because the theme of lesbianism, first between Sirang and Rao, and then Sirang and Kümel. It's very subtle, but it's also very apparent at the same time, and it just builds up as the film progresses, which, again, Kümel does very well. And yeah, and that it was shot entirely on location at this hotel in for some reason I want to say Antwerp, but I'm not sure if that's a city in Belgium or not. Although for some reason Antwerp kept coming back to my mind. So it must have been where it was set. Yeah, and he actually shot the interiors in this real hotel, which he was amazed he was able to get. And yeah, so there's this grand, opulence. We see the beauty of the Belgian cities, and in spite of this surreal, fantastic fog that surrounds the story. Yeah, and what's really interesting is the performance of Danielle Kümel, who starts off as this sort of not shy, but she's not fully out of her shell yet. And then as she becomes more and more enthralled by Sarang's battery, she starts changing, starts becoming more confident, more assured, and she's not as much under the thumb of her husband. And John Carlin does really well as Stefan. I mean, he's this, total jerk, as you'll come to realize. He's not completely in love with his wife, but he doesn't want to lose her either, and he's starting to fool around with Iona and all this other stuff. Whatever. And yeah, like you just come to and you come to utterly dislike him as the film progresses. So yeah, really excellent film. One I highly recommend checking out. This is the 4K and Blu-ray from Radiance. I know there's a 4K from Blue Underground, which I might get, just because it has like different special features. There's interviews with Andrea Rao and Danielle Kümel on those on that disc, as well as a revisiting of locations with Kümel and the one producer, which I am curious to check out. So yeah, that is Daughters of Darkness. Okay, now on to Malpertuis. Now, this is sort of in the same vein as Daughters of Darkness, a very surreal fantasy, but this go around it concerns a young man. This fella here, who has gone to sea and is on shore leave, and soon finds himself back at his family's estate that is overseen by his uncle Savius, played by Orson Welles, actually. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, and basically, Welles's Savius wants his nephew Jan, played by the German-French actor to Carrere, to take over the estate, but he doesn't want to. He knows how malevolent his uncle is, and has an idea of all the craziness going on at the place. But he initially sticks around because his sister is there. But soon he finds himself drawn to another uncle's ward named Eurydice, whom somehow is making him stay. And there's all this other group of characters there, who are all figuring into Savius's plans. He has this mass fortune that he will only let everyone have if they agree to stay at the estate forever. Anyone who leaves goes their share of the inheritance, and that ends up being the nephew Jan, his sister, the other uncle and his wife, Eurydice, these three sisters, the servants, and this very eccentric taxidermist named Laris. And it just turns into this, utteral surreal nightmare vision. Yeah, which also takes its cues from Greek-like mythology, particularly in the character of Eurydice, who is played by the British actress Susan Hampshire, who actually plays who actually plays 3 or 4 roles in the film. She's that character. She's the sister Nancy. She's the youngest of the 3 spinster sisters, and there's a 4th she plays, but for whatever reason, I can't remember exactly who. Yeah, yeah. Now, what's funny is that the first, I'll say 15 to 20 minutes start out normal, the other uncle, Charles Diddaloo, and that's one servant, Albert Tweese, are trying to figure out how to get Jan back there, and he sees his sister, who ends up being this cabaret singer, played by the French pop star Sylvie Vartan, who's also really good in her brief but really interesting role. Jan starts falling for her. He gets clunked in the head, and he ends up back at Malpertuis, where our adventure seemingly begins. And he comes across all these people in there, including Lemperniest, who's this half mad guy played by Jean-Pierre Cassel, who is worried about light. At first he's defiant and tries to leave, but then when he meets Eurydice, he's for whatever reason drawn to stay, which upsets his sister Nancy, whom it's very direct that they have a kind of forbidden relationship that isn't too sibling-esque, if you will. And it just turns into this weird thing of where he's going all through the mansion trying to find out the secret of what's going on after his after the old man played by Wells dies, and soon it just becomes this surreal vision. I mean, there's all these colors, all this iconography and symbols. It's like this ultimate delirium, and again, Kümel just shoots this very well. He uses these very creative and different camera angles to highlight the dream-like essence of the film. And how as Jean gets deeper and deeper, the crazier and more fantastic it turns out. Now, I don't want to spoil it too much, but I will say there's a very heavy emphasis on Greek mythology throughout the film, and what the audience and Jan eventually learns is really interesting and really weird at the same time. Yeah, I had heard about this film back in high school, almost 20 years back now. And I was intrigued by the story then, but the DVD went long on a print, so yeah, and now that I finally seen it, like now that I finally seen it, I enjoyed it, but I feel like there's stuff I'm still missing. Like this is definitely a film you have to watch a couple of times to like really grasp what Kümel and his co-author wanted for the story, which was based off of a novel by the Flemish writer. Let's see if he's listed here. Jean Ferry. And there's also a mini documentary about him on here. So yeah, now I've watched both the original Dutch cut and the alternate and shorter Cannes cut. Well, actually, to be honest, I just skimmed through it. The Dutch version is definitely superior because it gives us everything Kümel wanted us to see in the film. Like, even though we're, even though it's only in Dutch, there was never an English dubbing for it. The Cannes cut does have the English version as well as the old sonnet French language version of the same cut. But they're the actors, even though they did their lines in a phonetic English, well, like most of them did their lines in phonetic English. They they were still looped over by other actors for the English dubbing, which save for Orson Welles and Susan Hampshire, who provide their own voices. The dubbing is atrocious, and also the Cannes cut kind of loses Kümel's intentions, because quite a few pivotal moments I've seen are cut from that version, which were thankfully restored to the original Dutch language cut. Now they did have to freeze frame in certain places, in order so that the Dutch audio track would, work and play seamlessly, which I actually don't mind. I think it adds to the surreal fantasy nature of the film. It's definitely enjoyable and really thought provoking. but again, it is one that you do kind of need to see multiple times in order to experience it properly. I believe so. I'll definitely be viewing this one again soon to see if to see if I can pick up any more on what Kümel intended. So yeah, oh yeah, and Kümel also stated in an interview that working with Orson Welles, it was interesting but tedious because he felt Welles by oh when did this come out? 71. He felt that Welles had kind of uh, lost his edge a bit, and Leg was not the same guy as he was in the 40s and the 50s. He almost kind of hinted in an interview he thought Welles may have been not washed up, but more of a character, I guess, like he was going for which I mean I can sort of get. Yeah, I mean this was kind of the sort of balancing act to his career because he had tried for a Hollywood comeback, and that didn't really go off too well, and he was just like like moping around Europe. Though some of his films were still pretty good at the time. So yeah, I always found that tidbit interesting. So yeah, I do definitely I recommend this one. Just don't expect to figure out every thing on the first viewing. Now, out of both of these features, do I prefer one over the other, or both equally? I do prefer them equally, although I will admit, Daughters of Darkness gets a slight upper hand. Just from being this like very creative gothic fantasy, as I said, like Malbert Tweese still has secrets I need to figure out, but but it's still good. So yeah, yeah. Thanks for watching. Um, if you've seen either of these films, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If there's anything I missed in either of my recollections that you saw, also, please let me know in the comments if you enjoyed either film. If you didn't, yeah. And yeah, like just any of your thoughts and questions in the comments below. If you can, please leave a like for the video. It does help the channel. And if you haven't already and would like to, please hit that subscribe button and the bell notification icon to keep up with more content like this. Yes, and again, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Take care, everybody. Bye.